Hello there, and welcome to your verdict. So, if you picked this option, you're basically in a position where you're waiting to see the outcome of something that is in a form of ownership. I don't know if this is symbolic, I don't know if this is an actual tangible item, but I do see that there is something that you're going to have to fight to prove that you actually belong there, you own it, or that you can access it. Um, then there's another side of you guys who have the same sort of circumstance, but you don't want to fight for it. You want to let it go. You don't want to be tied to this thing anymore. But in both cases, there's a form of ownership. And for the first part, when I mentioned that there's a select group of you that wants to fight for it and advocate for it. It seems like it's something that's been passed down for generations. It could be an heirloom, it could be a piece of land, or just property, business, anything. But there's a sentimental value there, which is why you feel like you want to fight for it. On the other side, you're the one out of the group that, despite the sentimental value, you don't care about that. You rather get something out of it, move on with your day. It's one less thing for you to think about. I want to tie into this weekend with the spring equinox where we spoke about how it's about newness, beginnings, and all of these things, right? And I think within the newness of everything, sometimes we can get so wrapped up in that idea that everything is new, 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 brand new car smell, right? We can't disregard what happened. We want to a lot of the times, but we can't. I'm a realist. There's no way that I can say I am who I am today because of my yesterday. And then when I act like yesterday never happened. Like, if that's the case, then I partially don't exist, which doesn't make sense because I'm here right now. Hello, you can hear me. I'm a real person. So, honoring the fact that something happened doesn't have to throw away the sentiment that is tied to it. Maybe you had a bad experience there. Maybe you had a bad experience with the people you have to interact by having ownership to this business or property. Whatever it is, that doesn't mean that that's not the place where you got your first deal or you made your first million. It's still a value. The question for you is, why are you so quick to let that go and release that? For the pocket that you want to advocate and you want to fight tooth and nail because of the sentimental value that's there, and you want to just, let it be known like this is my shit. Well, bravo for you, because anybody that advocates for themselves, I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of, and I'm definitely a friend because, yeah, that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing for ourselves and for each other. When you, I mean, you don't have to prove that this thing is yours. Again, this is for the advocation side of this thing. You don't have to prove that it's yours. You don't have to go out your way. But I am saying to you, if you are thinking or considering legal action, then I think you should do it. Just so that way down the line, maybe you could prevent this from happening again if you are serious about moving forward with solidifying your position. But I think you should also do research, and I think you need to go through some green, aquamarine, teal, light blue, lavender room that you don't go in as often. There's something in there where this thing that you need, well, you don't need it, but you know what I mean, that would help. it's going to be in there, but it's not going to be with anything that's relative to this. It's going to be with stuff that's super random. So you're not going to expect it to be there. So try to look everywhere you can. And it's also the spring equinox weekend. So spring cleaning, anyone, just go through a few things and see what you can find. But my question for you would be, why are you fighting for this so hard? And are you fighting for this to create a false sense of value in it, or to compensate for the lack of something or the lack of value? Are you doing that? Or is this something that is truly meaningful to you and you think that it's worth saving? Because remember, as a collective, right, a lot of us are used to having to clean up the mess of our family members, or having to take the brunt of the behaviors of our ancestors, right? Or having to be the one to stay late. A lot of us are the ones that stay late. Some of us have been the cleanup crew. Some of us have been the therapists, the doctors, the healers, all of this. We know this already. But if we're going to be tired of constantly being misused or treated other than what it is we know we deserve to be treated like, we cannot keep putting ourselves in these positions voluntarily, right? So if this is something that holds a lot of value to you, make sure that you're really figuring out how much value that is. And if that value is filling a void, or if that value is holding a place for something until you figure out your next safe space, or if this is a crutch and enabling that behavior that we have ridded ourselves of, right? Where we're not stepping in and holding on to shit, or helping people, or going our way to be of service for people, places, or things that are just taking at that point, you know? Are you really going to want to continuously hold on to this thing? Despite it being yours, yeah, we get it. It's yours and you have rights to it. But does that mean that it's right for you? This is something to consider for this entire weekend. Thank you so much for listening. Hi, and hi again to some of you guys that might be coming in from option one. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to your verdict. So, in this pocket, I'm seeing I would say a person who you've been slighted, and I know most of us have been, but this is a recent occurrence, right? And so somebody tried to throw the rock and hide the hand, as always, and they tried to throw dirt on your name. It's either they try to throw dirt on your name, or they knew that you had nothing to do with anything, or that you're just not that type of person, and they just let the narrative get ran through, right? So they had the opportunity to step in, to course correct, say, nah, they're not really like that, or nah, they don't be doing that, or nah, they didn't do it. I actually know who did it, or I did it. They just let you take the fall. At this point, this is not about karma thing. No, this has been investigated. This has been spoken about. You honestly did your due diligence by speaking up and saying what you needed to speak up on. And again, if you were listening to Pawan, I mentioned how advocating for yourself is one of the best things that you can do, at least in my eyes as a person, for yourself. So great. We're very happy that you did that. But for this particular group, I feel like you don't really be having a problem doing that. So I'm not going to really praise you on that as much as I did Power One, because for this energy, it gives like you're used to doing that already, which is why I think that In this case, you just need to let it play out. You're going to get the recognition. Your reputation is going to be wiped clean. You're going to get acknowledged. You're going to get your respect. You don't have to go out there and do too much, I promise you, because it could end up backfiring in your face, and or it could actually make it look like what the person said and or did. It could make it look like it is true or possible. Let's just say that. Do I think that anybody who is told, oh, you shouldn't fuck with this person because blah, 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 and that person runs with it without at least taking the time to get to know somebody? No. I really don't understand why people do that, but it just goes to show who has their own mind and who doesn't. Not that many independent thinkers in this world. If there were, I think we would be in a better position. But what do I know? So, in your case, you just gotta let this play out. Just allow people to see the truth for what it is and how it's gonna be. Your name will be saved. Your reputation will be saved. You won't have to worry about this. And you don't even have to say anything to anybody. Just let it be. And you don't have to remind people of who you are. They know who you are. We know who you are. You know who you are. That's why everybody else knows who you are, because you know. That's the only way. Let it be. Let it ride out. Let it play out. Don't be upset. Just continue to focus on everything else. Show up every day like you've been doing. No hard feelings. After everything has been settled, no bringing it up. Just the humility. So much humility. Because that's going to even further prove the case. And it's so funny because even though these are two different piles, I'm sitting here looking at the situation and I'm like, they're very similar in the sense. Opposing, but similar. Where the proof is already in the pudding. There's no need to do the research. There's no need to, you don't have to do anything else to prove this. And I don't think you want to. I think you're tired of it. I think you at this point, and I think this is why this is happening to you this way and it's playing out this way, because now you're so over it that you're like, look, I don't even care. Believe what y'all want to believe. And now the truth is about to come out. So going into the energy of the spring equinox and considering the idea and the concept of new, right? And beginnings. For you this weekend, during this energy of coming out of the new moon into the spring equinox, into the new year, I think your perspective should be, how should you address situations and let this be the situation to show you that, so that way you can embrace a different side of yourself to see the newness and the change that it will bring. Because sometimes when we get involved in stuff and we don't allow shit to cook, it could affect so many other things. It could affect opening opportunities. You never know who's sitting there and who's watching. And by them seeing how you handle the situation, they're going to look at you and say, okay, wow, that just goes to show that what they said was really a lie, because look how she's acting. She's nothing like what they said. He's nothing like what they said. They're nothing like what was said. Let your existence speak for itself and understand that as long as you can say what you were able to say, I don't even care. Believe what y'all want to believe, because I'm done at this point. That should just be your attitude and your newness and your new approach to anything that is trying to shake you, throw you off kilter, or even make it seem as if you're not who you, forget say you are, who you are. Because anybody can say anything. But by you just walking in that and being in that and being a primary example of that every day, not one day here, and when you're around this person that, and you're not that type. You're a solid person. You don't switch it up for nobody. Which is why in the beginning it did hurt a little bit. And I think that's the part that you may not, I'm not going to say want to admit out loud, but you haven't said, tough cookie. I got it. Um, Thugs need love too. I'm just saying. I don't know why that came out, but that's where we're at. This situation is gonna change you, and it's gonna allow you. This situation, if anything, it's not just about the other people. It's so funny because this is gonna confirm shit for everybody else, but it's really about to confirm shit for you too. Let this weekend be the time and the space that you take to at least consider it.